It was more than 10 years ago when Agnes, who was happily married, experienced this great moment of expectation for motherhood. Thousands of women worldwide, especially in developing countries, encounter problems of delivery, which sometimes end up in death. Most rural areas do not have enough or easy access to prenatal care, and because of poverty, they are either poor of health or ignorant of the available options when it comes to giving birth. As a result, scenarios like this facing Agnes are common occurrence.
In our setup, you find that the majority of the cases are actually acquired, and more often than not, they are acquired during childbirth. And whenever a woman has prolonged obstructed labor or unrelieved obstructed labor for a long time, they get into that situation whereby the fetus compresses the soft tissues. These soft tissues could be the urethra, could be the bladder, could be the rectum. In between, they compress it on the mother's bones. And if that's not relieved, blood supply to such a soft tissues is cut off. And it means once you lose the blood supply, the area will die. And when an area dies, like we know, it rots and falls off. And when this happens, it leaves a hole.
Mr. Noah Martim, the father of Agnes, stands out tall among men for the action he took following his daughter's predicament. Not many men would do what he did. He tells us about the ordeal to save his daughter's life.
Wakati msichana wangu Agnes ilipoolewa mahali na kijana. Pata alipopata mimba akawa na matatizo ya kuzaa. Yaani hakuchukua kliniki vile ilikuwa inatakiwa.
Mungu ngukapa mama yetu awe Kericho kebilan ingricho ulite kuko ngitite ilite kukamela kwetenan moe kaiwa operation nikakaiwa operation nikakatu siku mbili nikapata hii mgonjwa.
Thousands of women of all ages die every year worldwide from a curable condition known as vesico-vaginal fistula, commonly referred to as VVF. Apart from death, many women with this condition suffer from isolation and are shunned by their communities for belief that the condition is caused by witchcraft. Some husbands desert their spouses over this ignorance.
Mungu kounoton aburite kounoton mabarege matochir mae ki agetugul ne tos western portanyo alitena nabur kounito Mungu nanyu.
It is unfortunate that this condition affects the most vulnerable in society, that is, poor women who also happen to be ignorant of the causes of the disease. Most often, health facilities in the rural areas are very far and therefore not suitable for emergency cases like Agnes's. Dr. Wakasiaka explains.
What PVF is basically there's an abnormal communication or connection between the urinary bladder of a woman and her vagina. So to speak in layman's language, there's a hole that is between the bladder and the vagina of a woman. Okay, and through this hole, urine leaks and passes from the urinary bladder to the vagina and outside her legs and wetting her clothes. That's how it is. And sometimes even the hole can be between the rectum and the vagina. And whenever that happens, again, stool would leak from the vagina, from the rectum through the vagina and outside. And this woman has no control because this hole is an abnormal one. It's not supposed to be there. It makes her lose the powers to control or stop urine leaking or stool leaking and continuously without stopping it.
Realizing that VVF is a public health problem, the Ministry of Health has taken several measures aimed at alleviating the problem through introduction of free training for medical staff, free delivery in public health facilities, establishment of a curriculum to create awareness in the population about VVF, and introduced community midwives so that women delivering do not get problems. Before Agnes got the necessary information which led to her getting repaired for the VVF condition, her parents had undergone a harrowing experience in sight for a cure.
Alipofika Litein akaonekana imekuwa hatari. Daktari akachukua jukumu akapasua yeye mara moja, akatoa mtoto ikiwa kishaumia ndani.
Noah went through many challenges in search for his daughter's cure. It is through this that he discovered that there are many doctors out there taking advantage of very deserving cases.
Kumbe hawa hakukuwa na uwezo ya kutengeneza hiyo. Akajaribu njia yote ya kufanya mimi nisije nijue hawa hawezi kufanya hiyo jambo. Akaniambia urudishe yeye, ukifikisha ukae wiki mbili ulete tena hapa. Mwisho nikajua hawa hana mashine ya kutengeneza hiyo. Nikapeleka yeye tena.
The experience in Kericho was not the end. For sooner or later, he wants to get to know how expensive the treatment for VVF can be. The more reason why AMREF and Kenyatta National Hospital are doing a great service to restore women's dignity.
Nikafikiria kuna daktari iko Kericho, iko kwa clinic ya wanawake. Nikaenda pale, akapima msichana, akapika tawa hii mapicha za x-ray. Hata kuna picha zingine iko hapo naye. Akaona iko na shimo, anaonekana shimo iko kwa mfuko ile ya maji. X-ray na malipo yote nikatumia 10,000 mpaka saa uko Jeta. Tukakaa tukingojea msichana ikawekwa kwa ward almost 1 week.
It is regrettable that whereas VVF can be repaired by simple surgery with a success rate of more than 90%, hundreds of women continue to suffer for lack of information on free services offered at public hospitals, and those who afford spend as much as 150,000 shillings for the same services at private hospitals.
Choboti muguleldanyin ale ndetosiche lakwet ko kawo clinic kepiman ako yani yekakonam komin kosibi labat sipitali.
Until recently, information about where women with this kind of problem could seek help was not easily available. Thank God, since 1997 that AMREF in collaboration with Kenyatta National Hospital has not only been availing these services and care, but also information. Today, hundreds of women are getting informed. Exactly, that is why Agnes got to the 2008 VVF camp. Her father Martim explains how he got the news.
Siku moja nikasikia kwa radio akitangazwa ya kuwa kuna usaidizi ya AMREF. AMREF atafanya kambi katika Kenyatta Hospital na itafanya katika itakuja hudumia wagonjwa wale uko na shida ya makojo na mambo zingine ambao amelemewa kina mama. Hiyo nilisikia kwa radio mimi mwenyewe. Sasa nikaanza sio ugonjwa ametangazwa ni kama ile ya msichana wangu hii. Nikaanza kufikiria mambo Nairobi nitaenda namna gani? Na pesa nitapata namna gani ya kwenda huko? Nikasema basi kitu nitafanya nitauza ng'ombe. Nikauza ng'ombe 12,000.
During the journey to Nairobi, Agnes and her father realized that stigma suffered at home was not peculiar. It was everywhere.
Watu walikuwa wanatenga sisi. Sasa kila mtu ulikuwa anafanya nini? Wakisonga. Mwingine anaweza kuja kali anasema na hii nini? Alikuwa naona aibu sana.
Through a difficult time and many anxious moments for more than 6 years, Agnes was finally received at Ward 66 in Kenyatta National Hospital. And as the father narrates, he discovered a new image.
So mtu nimekaa hapa nimejua sasa kuzungumza na watu madaktari, tunaenda wapi, makaratasi tupeleke wao, nasema chukue hii, muenda hapa, muenda hapa. Tukafurahi ma sister ya Kenyatta Hospital. Ni watu wazuri sana.
For several weeks, Agnes underwent treatment, and on learning of the successful repair, the lost hope in Mr. Martin's family was restored.
Kisop ninguni amwa kongoi ala kongoi amun kiatoret Jehova nikimatakimong'u aleni takitari chon kinyoiwo lakwet kongoi ngiribok Jehova asitakotestai konya biik alak chetinye mionwek cheu chon.
Sasa hii mabadiliko terter ngamun betusiek choton chekiaburi komakergei nguno, ngamun nguno atinye boiboiyet neo, kiatililitu ami komie abaibai sait age tugul, ot kingobwa ot nguno nakere abaibai sait age tugul.
Despite the challenges, there is hope that the awareness campaign can enable women from across the country seek help to avoid the risk of becoming victims of vesico-vaginal fistula, as was the case of Agnes.
Kama kuna mimba, uende hospitali utipapo haraka. Kwa maana nilipata hii shida, nilichelewa kwa hiyo matibabu, kwa maana nilipatiwa operation.
VVF is a condition that can be avoided or treated. The way forward is as explained here.
We feel like we have created a very good awareness. The community is able to respond. And one of the things I must mention is we are no longer seeing new cases coming up. We see once in a while, but there are not as many. And that this is positive. It means the community is responding to prevent the VVF. I must say that most of the cases we are getting are people who have been leaking urine for a long, long period.
Rafiki nao sikiliza niwaeleze, kuna wale wa kutegemea hata kwa dhiki, na wengine wanakupenda ukiwa navyo, kifilisika wanakusengenya na kutoroka, wamehitimu kuunda hata nyumba za watu, kusanisha wawili wanapopendana.
Throughout our camps, we have recorded very good successes in that the patients we operate, over 90% actually heal. So for us, 90% is a lot of hope to the people who have been suffering with VVF. Like I told you, it's a stigma condition, and the patients are depressed. They are socially withdrawn, and they become actual social outcasts. They say there's nothing as much as giving hope to a neighbor, and hope and love. And that's where our intention to give hope and love to these women who have been suffering for many years.
Mimi naambia hao, mimi nashukuru ninyi ambayo niliona mabadiliko yenu.